people awakening to their own role here as watchers, guardians, teachers, healers, New World teachers. And even if they think they're not, that's who I attract. So people that are watching this show are those people.
Okay.
What do your mobs say to them? What's the message?
The message is go out and do what scares you the most.
Right. Courage.
Just do it. It'll be uncomfortable. It'll be scary. It'll be awesome. And you might fail. Oh yeah, well, so what?
Well, let's hope you fail, because you learn so much when you fail.
Yes,
you learn so much when you fail.
And you get up and you just do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, take the thing that scares you the most, because that's what'll keep you young at heart. It will empower your spirit, and you'll meet such amazing friends and people that will change you, and together you change the world. So it would be go ahead and do this.
You got to accentuate the positive. Wow, I feel good. A little bit of feel good goes a long way.
You're listening to Karen Swain, teacher of deliberate creation, accentuating the positive, showing you a way to a better life.
Accentuating the positive, it's not this fad, it's sanity. Who in their right mind would accentuate anything else?
If you feel like that's what you want to do.
Hello everyone, welcome to another show, Accentuating the Positive with Karen Swain. So great to be with you again. This is the last show before we wrap it up for 2018. I've squeezed in another delicious, fabulous, cosmic goddess oracle for you today, Barbara Jean Lindsey. Welcome to the show, Barbara Jean.
Thank you so much for having me, Karen. It's a total honor to be here. Thank you.
Look, I have to say, one of my listeners who has joined us in the Inner Sanctum, Catman, sent me a link and said, check out this lady, she's amazing. And I did check you out, and we were already friends on Facebook, which I don't know how that happened. I might have friended you, you might have friended me, who knows? Don't you love that? And you have a fascinating story, you're a wonderful, amazing woman, actually. Let me just read your bio so people know a little bit more about you. Barbara Jean Lindsey is an internationally acclaimed psychic author, spiritual teacher, and inspirational speaker. She is certified in firewalking. I love that. Instructor, certified medical hypnotherapist, Qigong, medical practitioner, level 2 Reiki initiative, ordained 25 interfaith minister, certified hospice caretaker, and sister of Avalon. Darling, you've done it all. You haven't been sitting idle. In 1989, Barbara Jean had an extraordinary near-death experience. After a full-body channeling with an ancient Egyptian being, her lungs collapsed, killing her in front of a live audience. Over the next few days, she fought for her life on the physical plane, spiritual planes, and beyond. Really, you're fighting on other planes as well. Oh, I'll have to talk about that. Barbara Jean's story, journey, and transformation are chronicled in her autobiography, Dying for the Light, and her latest book, Seized by Sekhmet. Did I get that right? Sekhmet. Oh, no, I can't. Okay. Sekhmet. Oh, I got it. An ancient Egyptian goddess revolution, which is fascinating. You sent me both books, and I've looked over both of them. So the Sekhmet book is different stories from different people who have encountered Sekhmet.
Right.
So it's fascinating. Published in August. It's only just come out in 2018. Her next book, Ambassador of the Light, is an innovative guide in the search of truth and knowledge for our ancestral galactic connections, coming out in the fall in the US, which will be our spring. We actually don't call it fall, we call it autumn, which will be our spring 2019. Barbara hosts a weekly radio show called The Cosmic Oracle on Revolution Radio every Friday from 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 7 p.m., where listeners who have experienced something beyond themselves, from extraterrestrial to UFO to the spiritual, like altered states of awareness or out-of-body experiences, can call in and share their stories. Barbara gives free psychic readings to her callers, and she's also available for private readings via Skype or phone. She's the dean and the founder of an esoteric university and online mystery school for metaphysical studies. She's also sponsored and facilitated the annual Heart of the Cosmic Woman Conference, a gathering for women that empowers, inspires, and heals women through celebrating the goddess. And you've been doing that for over 15 years. She lives with her sister and little dog, Mary Margaret, in Northern California, where she pursues her passions. Arts, history, UFO, ET research, antique collecting. I love that cabinet for those people who are on iTunes. You can't see that beautiful cabinet behind her. And she still loves nachos.
I do. Just had some last night.
Darling, you've done it all. I tell you, there's so much to talk about. Where do we start? Look, we're going to start with the NDE because this is amazing. Obviously, you've chronicled that in your book, but the people are fascinated with near-death experiences. I don't think this was your wake-up call, because as you were doing it, you were channeling. You're already, doing. So it wasn't your spiritual wake-up call. What was your spiritual wake-up call?
I really think it was my spiritual wake-up call. But before that, I think it was, I was married and doing all the things that all my friends were doing. I had the house and the kids and the husband, and we had the vacations, and I had all the stuff, and I had a business. I was an interior designer at the time, and I had a fine art gallery, and I was just having it all. And all my friends said, hey, you should be happy. But I wasn't, because I had all this stuff. And so I went searching. And how it started is I went and I met a lady who was a potter, wonderful lady. And I said, you know what? There's something about you that's different. What is that? I get that from people now. But at the time when I asked her, she says, well, Barbara, I'm a psychic. And I go, oh, I was a Catholic at the time, and I go, oh, it's the devil herself. Oh my God, run fast, run, But I thought, okay, well, how could someone this sweet and this kind and this loving be that evil, right? So I got past that conditioning. And so she gave me a free psychic reading. And I went, I didn't tell anybody, And I went and I had the reading. And in the reading, they knew things about me that no one could know. And I thought, how did they do that? I want to learn how to do that. So I started attending the next week psychic school, a local psychic school in Sacramento. And the rest is history. And about 2 years into becoming a psychic minister, is when I had the near-death experience. And that's when everything opened up, everything.
So you're in your 20s or 30s then?
I was 37.
Right, 37. Okay, well, let's get into what happened when you... So it says that you were channeling.
Yes.
Or were you on stage talking to people doing a channeling?
No, what happened is the day was a really strange day. And when I went into the building to be with the women, there's about 35 to 50 women there, all psychics, psychic students or teachers, I started feeling a lot of pain in my chest. I was born an asthmatic, so I'll usually just take an inhaler and I'm good to go. Yeah. Oh, see, they say that's a whole other story, right? But you learn how to be in, when you're asthmatic, you learn how to be in between worlds and get comfortable with that. And every other moment you could be dying. So you look at death and dying, you build a relationship with death and dying. So through asthma, I think, and being separate from other people, you learn how to be okay with that too. So the asthma was a great teacher in a lot of ways. So I'm walking to the room and I start feeling all this pain in my chest, so much so it felt like 1,000 knives hitting into my chest. And when I did, I passed out. Now, I don't remember what happened, but all the women, I talked to a lot of them afterwards, and the story goes, they lifted me up into a chair and I was bent over. And when I lifted back up, I was channeled a being that was a male voice, and he said to the women in this loud voice, I am from Egypt and I am going to kill Barbara. I'm going to kill her now because she has information that can't be given at this time. And he collapsed both my lungs. So they called the ambulance, and the ambulance came through, and they gave me the, mouth to mouth and those defibrillators and all of that. But while they were working on my body and trying to keep it alive, I, as a spirit, popped out. Mm-hmm. And when I popped out, I went to a whole nother place, a whole nother dimension. And I was there in a coma for 3 days. So
where did you go?
I had the best time. I didn't want to come back.
I can imagine. It said that you were struggling to survive in the physical life, but also in these other realms too. So what was happening? Where did you go first?
Okay. Well, what happened was, first of all, I was able to come back into the body just for a second, into the back of my eyes, and scan the audience and see their horror. But the pain was so excruciating, I popped out. And when I popped out, there was no pain, no sense of body at all. And I found myself floating in this undulating warm water. It's just this beautiful liquid love light of water. And I was like, I was so loved. I came from love. I am love. I'm a part of this love. And it was intelligent, and it was beautiful, and it was everything I could ever imagine of love. And I'm a very loving, giving, nature, nurturing person. But this just blew my mind of how much love. And then I thinking, oh my God, I'm a part of this love, and it's a part of me. And it was glorious, just this glorious, transcendent, beautiful, back in your mother's arms, kind of total safety, total expanded, total let go, total everything. And then I looked down and I noticed I don't have a body. I'm going, oh my God, I don't have a body, but yet I still exist. How can that be? And my mind was just blown at that time. It was just like, oh, but it was kind of scared me for a minute though, because, and then my whole mind just opened up. That's when everything just opened up, and, I just saw everything became one with everything, all of it. Me, I'm it, it's me, I'm existing, and I'm not on earth, and I don't have a body. And I didn't think anything like that, but I just became one with it. Just one with all of it. And then in a second, I'm up on a spaceship.
Right. So many NDEs say that I became one with everything, but I really, when you talk about the love, you take me there and I can feel it, like I can swim in that love. But when you say I became one with everything, I have a concept of it, I have a memory of it, but I don't really have the experience of it. I hope we don't have to die to experience that. It'd be lovely if we all had that experience while we're embodied, being one with everything.
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, I meditate. I try and meditate an hour every day. And that's been my way to have the key to be in between the worlds. And I think and when I'm in meditation, I go there. And I think by me telling my story, other people can go there as well. Just by hearing my story in meditation, they can go there as well, because I'll show it as because we talk not only in voice, but we also talk in pictures. And so I can show you a picture, and you can go into that picture and be one with it as well. So I'm just it's just a key, I guess, to it.
So you're up on a spaceship. What are you looking at when you're on a spaceship?
Well, I had never been on a spaceship before. I'm in the 70s.
Not that you had remembered.
Yeah, right. That I had remembered. That's very true now.
Right.
1989, and it was all rounded corners. The lighting was soft, but bright at the same time, a different kind of a light there. I was in the middle of a room, and what I liked about it, you'll appreciate this, no dust anywhere.
You got me, girl.
Yes. No curtains,
no
carpet.
dust.
And so it was just this clear, beautiful, and the smell, I remember the smell was a beautiful kind of a sweet smell there too. And everything was very austere and soft at the same time. So everything was smooth surfaced, nothing out of order or out of shape. And I was in the middle of a room and kind of sitting in a dentist-like chair, looking back, and both my feet were up. I was very comfortable. So it looks kind of like now, like a jump seat,
Right.
now after all my studies from all of it over the years. But I was the only one in the room at the time, but I wasn't afraid. I was totally calm. But I did think, here I'm a girl from Earth, and what am I doing here? I'm not, I'm in a new place, but I didn't get afraid. And right when that started to have a little bit of any kind of a negative, in come this huge being, tall, with white robes, big square shoulders, big hood, and he kind of floated towards me, but you couldn't see through him. I could see him just as clear as could be, and I could touch him if I wanted to. But he came towards me, but I couldn't see his face at all. It was dark, so I never got to see a face. But he telepathed to me, and it's the first time I had ever telepathed that I could remember too. And he said, hello, welcome, and you may call me the Guardian. So I called him the Guardian, and he says, I'm here to help you meet and talk to a group of people. And that's my job. And I said, okay, well, that sounds great. Okay, I'm good with it. Let's do it. Kind of like that. But he made me feel, he felt like very highly intelligent, very highly sophisticated, very not in control, but where he had a demand of respect and honor and dignity, and just like an ambassador, I guess, like that. And so he was there with me to make sure that I was okay with everything and that I didn't have any fear. Because I do feel that the moment you have fear, they don't want to create any kind of karma, and there's rules that they have to play by if they are going to intercept. So then he showed me, just like moving his arm, a glass wall lit up, and behind the glass wall were about, I say 10 to 14 beings. I don't know. I didn't count them. I wish that I would have. But they all have the same matching robes on, and I can't see their faces. And me being me, thought, oh, they must have got them on. They're all wearing the same robes. That's kind of weird, But because I do have the humor thinking they must have got them on discount or something. I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking, What is it? I'm just thinking, what are they all the same? I know from an artist's eye, it's like they all have the same robes on. What's up with that? But there were fat ones, and there were tall ones, and there were skinny ones, and they all had different personalities. And they would talk amongst themselves telepathically. They would come to a decision, and then their one person would talk to my guardian, and then my guardian would talk to me. And I felt like they were behind glass. It felt like they were at a different vibration, whole different thing going on, where they couldn't come to me direct now looking back, because I think it would have fried me totally, on all my jets. But so they needed an intermediary to be able to be with me to get what I needed to get, whatever that was. So
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then they sent me to, they started showing me experiences. That's how they taught me, was through experience, not by teaching me. But what happened was a door opened up, a window opened up, and the window from it came a holographic image of our Mother Earth.
Right.
And it was huge, and I saw her, and she was so beautiful. And I looked at her, and I noticed that she was alive. Our Mother Earth was alive, and I was a part of her, and she was a part of me. And the thought of that, I just started burst into tears. I had never thought of her being alive. This was back in the 89. I was an organic gardener, vegetarian at the time, all that, but not like this degree. And our hearts became one, and they intertwined, and my heartbeat and her heartbeat were the same. And we're like that with everyone. Our earth beats at our heartbeat level. we're one, and there's this beauty and this natural, organic love and relationship that's there for us, and that she needs us. We need to take care of her, that we are her children. And I had never thought of her like that before. And they said, well, you need to take care of her because she's important, and she is our jewel in the cosmos, and you're the caretaker. So, like, do your job, okay, please, so do your job. Don't take her for granted. Don't destroy her. Don't, her breath is your breath. Her heart is your heart. So that's why we're here. That's part of why we're here. So they showed me that. And so then I went from that whole part. Then in a second, flew out of the spaceship and was with the Guardian. And then we flew over these hills and valleys of green forest, just like an airplane, an aerial view, but I'm flying, kind of like reminding me of Peter Pan, when he takes them out, it's kind of like that. And I'm looking at these forests, and these beautiful forests, and there's no people there, there's no buildings, it's just natural green forest of the most technicolor green, emerald greens, and all the shades of greens that I could possibly imagine, plus some that I didn't know existed. And then I became one with the green of the nature of the forest, and it opened my heart. I was going through a divorce at the time, so it just expanded and healed my heart. And green's the color of the green chakra, the heart chakra. And I learned all this later, right? Yeah, and I didn't know any of that at the time. And so my heart just burst open, and in joy and in love, and an energetic dynamic of what's available to us. And all my dreams could come true. I just got to make them all happen. It's all there for us. So I'm in this, and then I go the third station. So it's like a third experience. And I find myself going up these alabaster lit stairs, and around is a Greek columns, beautiful white Greek columns. I'd never been out of the country before. Since then, I've traveled the world, and I've seen something similar in Thelos, in Delphi, outside of Athens, there at a temple. And so I go up these steps, and there's a round column of these huge columns of I don't know if they were Corinthian or what kind of columns they were, but these Greek columns. And it's floating in the middle of space, and in between the columns are all the stars of the cosmos. So I'm floating in this temple, this Greek column of temple, and I go up, and there's a group of beings still in the same white robes that can't see their faces. They break their circle, and I come into it, and I hold their hands, and I become one with their energy field. Just like as soon as I touch it, I'm in. And what they're focusing on is something in the middle, which is on a column, and on the column is this foggy like stuff, and then in that is a holograph of the earth. And what they tell me is their job is, they're called the Watchers, and their job is to watch the earth and to protect her. And they've been here forever. They will be here forever. They're not going to let anything happen to her. That's their job. And I'm part of them. That's part of my work somehow. And so
I'm getting so much information about all this as you're talking. It's like the Watchers are Mother Gaia's spirit guides. Yeah. Like we have angelic spirit guides and guides and angels looking after us while we're physically incarnate. It's like they're her guides, her watchers, her guardians, her guides. I don't know. There's, words fail us. Okay, keep going.
So I'm with them, and as I'm with them, they have kind of a little bit of a guttural sound to them too. It's all telepath, but it sounds kind of like a Tibetan chant, like that old like that. And they're kind of like with that, and the energy raises, and it just expands, and again, where we just see our earth there, and how beautiful she is, and how important she is. I had to get, before I left, how important she is. Do you get it? Yeah, I got it. She's like really important. And she isn't just a nothing. Go ahead.
Let's just have a little talk about that, because I've posed this question many times, and I'm just getting downloads of information about this. Like, why is she so much more important than any other planet? Like, there are trillions, billions, trillions, quadrillions of other planets out there, right? Why is she so important? And what I'm being told is her diversity, her natural diversity. It's unlike any other planet. There's teeming with this enormous variety of life, teeming, unlike any other planet. So she is a jewel. Yeah. But go on. Sorry.
And the love. See, she's a loving planet. She has so much love. And we're a microcosm of her.
Yeah.
See, so if we can love ourselves as much as we can love her, if she's special, then we're special. See, if she's makes such a big difference, then we make a big difference.
Yeah.
We're here to make a big difference. All of us. It's not like we're here just taking a vacation. We're here for a reason, and wake up and get going on it, okay? And that's kind of what they told me. They go, look, Barbara, you can hang out and be with your kids and swim and do your, but there's something bigger going on if you just put your head up and take a look and take a feel. And if you can step into her and walk into the earth, she gives you so much. I built a strong relationship with her. Right after I had this experience, I had the great honor to work with a Native American Indian chief, Richard Sparrow Eagle. And I feel like since Spirit took me so far out there in the cosmos, it was equally important to bring me back down into the earth, into her, and have a relationship with her that's real and profound and organic and juicy, shall we say. And so I was able to learn their traditions and develop a relationship with her more than I ever knew was possible. And so, but at the time I was just a beginner, I was a baby. And so all of this was new to me, with having a relationship with our Mother Earth, and then also with yourself, and then first yourself, and then your community, your family. You have a relationship with your family, and then with your community, and then with your country, then with the world, then with the cosmos, and then it's where it really gets exciting, where we can be interplanetary and have no boundaries. We've been oppressed and brought down and said, this is who you are. Well, that's not who we are. Okay, that's a little aspect, and I'm not buying any of what's been told. And so when I came back, I always had a lot of energy anyway, but when I came back, I had some work to get done, some things to do and people to see and things to change.
Well, let's just finish the experience. So you're with the Watchers, and they said, you're one of us, which is amazing in itself. and what happened after that?
Well, they did say I could come back in meditation whenever I wanted to, that I would always have access. So, and then the next moment, I'm walking with my guardian in this, looks like a Victorian house without furniture, but it's at a huge party, and the walls are 100 feet tall, and it's a solarium on the top. It's opened up and you can see all the stars. There's jazz music playing, and there's all these dignitaries and people dressed up. They're having kind of like a party. And there's it was real important for me to remember exactly what happened. And one of the beings looked like an elephant, a pink elephant. I swear, one was a pink elephant. One kind of looked like Jeeves with white hands that introduced me to people. And no one ate anything, but they did drink different colored drinks from liquid drinks. And so my guardian introduced me to different people. I remember kind of an admiral looking guy. I remember his square shoulders. And what they would do is they would say hello to you in a slight bow. I kind of learned it. And they did say, they go, oh, we really love your smile. And I'm thinking, oh, thank you. I look down, I still can't see my body. I can't see anything of me. I only see them. And I'm thinking, okay, if you can see my smile, then I guess, it's you can see it, but I can't see it. But yet I could see everyone there, which was still an interesting perspective for me. And when I met the different people, there was one in particular, he was kind of looked like Theodore Roosevelt with the little monocle kind of a dude, kind of looked almost like a teddy bear at the same time. And he said hello to me, and he actually spoke to me, and I actually spoke back to him. But I felt like he was studying me like something out of an old book that he had studied. And he was so excited to see a primitive, primitive earth person there,
Okay, so when you said he spoke to you and I spoke back to him, okay, you're not wearing a body, so you don't have a voice box, but the communication between you was different than like receiving it mentally. You felt like you were having this speaking conversation. So, okay, like what I'm getting about this is it would be as if he met someone from another country and he's speaking your language.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was having so much fun with it because you could tell he was a scholar or something. He had studied it. And so it was really fun for him to see it actually in real life.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got that from him. And so we're with all this group, and I just was having the best time learning how, and they said that it was an ambassador party, and they were there representing their world's countries. Wasn't countries, was more like they were representing their worlds, and they came there to find solutions to difficulties or problems and to plan the future so that they're, all of that. And such an important, I felt really honored to be there to see all that was happening there. And I didn't want to go, and the guardian would just swoop up next to me and he'd kind of give me that look, even though it was like this, space astronaut in these white robes and this white hood, but I still could never see his face. And he would just swoop next to me, and I go, oh, it's time to go. And I really didn't want to go. So from there, then I went up, and we spiraled up and around, and then I'm floating in stars. I'm just floating in nothing, black stars everywhere. I'm just floating there, having the best time, kind of swirling around and dancing. And that's when the goddesses came, and they were all in these beautiful jewel tones and lapises and turquoises and golds, and some of them had harps and instruments, and they had beautiful jewelry, and they looked like Waterhouse paintings, the goddesses from Waterhouse paintings. And I'm with them, and they only telepath, but the way they telepath, they do it only in tones with me. So it's just the beautiful celestial tones. I have an artist I like, Hauser. I don't know if you know him, but he's a beautiful cello player. And it is just, you're in heaven. It's just ecstatically blissed out with these women who are toning like sirens from mermaids from the sea, like that. And I'm with them, and they told me their work with me was to find my voice. And so they would just tap me gently here. And so I did find my voice, and I go, oh, I can't sing like you guys. And what I found was my voice was very deep. And again, it's more like the Tibetans, like that. It's very low. I'm an alto, not a soprano. And so they taught me my voice, and I got to learn my voice, and I found it. And just as I did that, the guardian came and said, it's time. You need to go back. I go, oh, no, I don't want to go back. I'm having a great time. He goes, well, what about your children? I go, oh, my children. Oh, my God. I have 3 children. Like that. And I go, oh, but my children will be fine. They'll have their own destinies. They're totally handled. They have everything they need to get what they need to do. And that's not like me. I'm a real fierce mama, And so, and then he goes, but your children. And then I go, oh, yeah, I got to go back because we were going through the divorce, and they really needed me to da-da-da-da. And so as I go back, then I'm hovering over a hospital, and I see my best friend at the time, Cindy, meditating. And I go, what is she doing in the hospital? And then I look down, I go, oh, who's that in that hospital bed? And I look down, I go, oh, that's me in that hospital bed. I go, but I didn't freak out or anything. It was just a real, oh, that's me in that hospital bed. And I'm thinking, well, you don't look so bad, but you do look a little puffy, And so I'm seeing my body. And so then that's when the guardian pulls me back and he says, it's time for you to go back. And I go, look, if I'm going back there, I'm going to need some real help. And so, can you give me something to help me when I go back there? And he says, well, I give you the gift of white light. And I said, white light? That's all you're going to give me after everything I've been through? That's all you're going to give me? And I throw a tantrum like a little 10-year-old because I really wanted something substantial. Now I know what white light is. At the time, I did not know what he was gifting me. And I just threw a fit, and he thought it was the funniest thing. And he did. He was like, what? And so then as I go, okay, thanks. And so I start to go back into the body, and he goes, wait a minute, Barbara Jean, come up. And so I came back up, and he said, we have a mission for you if you would like to take it. And I said, sure, what is it? Without thinking. And he said, we'd like for you to be an ambassador. I go, sure. And as I'm starting to go back to the body, I'm thinking, okay, an ambassador must be an ambassador of the arts, an ambassador of love, an ambassador, of creation, ambassador for healing arts. I'm thinking of it. So then I go to acclimate the spiritual me into the body. And the body's really dense, and I start to acclimate down into it with all the white light, and I just totally envelop the whole body with the essence of that. And then I sit up, take my first breath, and say, I'm starving, I want some nachos.
Nachos, there with the nachos.
There's the nachos. And so my friends that were there, they thought I would be, I already had a last rites given to me.
Wow.
And my parents and my family were there on a prayer vigil. And if I came back, I had lost a lot of oxygen. And so they said I probably would be a vegetable, but they had prepared my family for the worst. And when I came back, I was a total miracle. I totally, was 100% fine. And 10 days later, I could go back to work like nothing ever happened. But everything, my whole world changed irrevocably forever. So.
That's a story, isn't it? There's so many questions that I raised during that story. The first question was, who was that being that said, I'm going to kill you?
Yeah, I just had it took me, a good year and a half to acclimate, and it's taken me kind of my whole life in a way to acclimate still what happened. And so I just had a reading with Barbara Lamb, and
reading or a hypnosis thing?
A hypnosis with her.
Right.
And so we traded. I did a reading for her, and she did it, and we're friends, and I just love her to pieces.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're looking at doing a crop circle tour this summer together. And so I did it. And what we found out is what I saw was I had had a past life with that Egyptian being.
Yes.
And what it showed me was that the past life that we went into was him coming. I'm with a group of my people. I was the leader, and all my people, I told them that they were coming and to be prepared for them. And when he came off the spaceship, he was about 18, 20 feet tall, with all of his big people. And they had kind of an Anubis head like on him. And they had these machines, and they just killed everybody. Me, everybody. They came off and just slaughtered all of us without thinking.
Okay, so they were malevolent ET beings.
Yeah.
That look like what the Egyptians perceived as gods.
Yes.
And you said they look like Anubis. Okay, what I got when you were telling that was that when he was trying to kill you in this life, it was happening in that life. Like
at the same time.
Yeah, it was like he was trying to destroy you, not just in that time frame, but in all other time frames where you would elect to be of service. So not every life, but just the lives where you. So what I'm saying is not every life, not just on earth, but the life on earth where you would elect to be of service. So as you were telling me, I'm like, he's not killing her in this life. He's trying to kill her in that life. That's what I got. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that. So there's a timeline thing going on, right? And
Yeah.
so he's just doing his job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's just following orders.
Yes.
But he's a multidimensional being. Time is of no consequence to him.
Right.
Which it is to us. It's like we
Yes.
think it's all about,
Changing that perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Fascinating.
So
Another thing.
Go ahead. When she told me that, it was so clear, and she was blown away, and I was blown away when we're going through all of it.
Okay, hang on. When you say when she told you, when Barbara, so you're under hypnosis, so you're revealing this under hypnosis, right?
Right.
So when you say she told you, it was you telling you, like your higher self, subconscious telling you.
Yes. So no, afterwards, I'm sorry. Afterwards, we talked about it.
Oh, when she told you when you talked to her. Right.
Yeah. So it was.
What else did she reveal or you reveal?
Well, that's the only thing, we tried to record it and it didn't record on my side or her side.
Oh.
I know. But she did take notes and she is writing her book. I think it'll be in her book. I actually have her on my list to talk to her again about it. But yeah, that's the only thing that I really remember. Well, there were a couple other things that I've never told anybody this before. What we found out is that while I'm here on Earth now, I also have a body that's in stasis, I guess you call it, on a ship.
Right.
That's in being taken care of.
Right.
And that being is my other dimension, my ship being or my other being.
Yes.
That's who I am. That's really me. But I'm also me here as well at the same time. So it's like bilocating at the same time.
Oh, definitely. Like we are multidimensional. It's
yes,
crazy.
We are.
It's crazy how many me's there are.
It is. There are. It's true. It's really true. And so that was really kind of cool to see that. I'd always kind of felt that. And, I was at a conference. I host the Cosmic Cafes at Contact in the Desert here in the United States every year. And a friend came up and a new friend, and he says, I have to tell you something. He goes, that's what's good about telling your stories. He says, by you telling your story, he goes, I see myself on a spaceship. And when he told me that, at the same time, I go, well, that's really interesting, but it didn't click. But after I had that experience with Barbara, then everything started clicking, where you're putting another puzzle piece together. And I think also I went to Egypt twice. I had to go to Egypt to really conquer my fear because, number one, asthma, I'm allergic to cats. And so Egypt is like full of cats, and to go there and be a part of that as well. So, and to have my whole Sekhmet experience there and write about that later. But it was, afterwards, it took me a long time to acclimate all the information that I received from the near death.
So you die in 1989, you have this experience, and then you see Barbara how long ago? Like
just recently. Recently.
So it's been
3 months ago. It took me that long.
Right. So you've been putting all these puzzle pieces in place.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing I got when you were speaking, which people will think, it's like, when I say what people will think, when you die, when you left your body, you went to a spirit realm. And the guardians showed you it as a spaceship because they were giving you a message of what you've just told us. So they were trying to tell you who you are by creating the environment of the spaceship, right? But in that moment, you're actually in a spirit realm. And the guardians are your kind of spirit dude guys, they're not ETs.
They're my family. Probably.
Yeah, they're not ETs as such. They're not embodied in an ET, denser ET body. They're beyond that. So I'm getting that they don't show you their faces because they don't really have any faces.
I agree. I think their vibration is so high and so light that they just really showed me that, because that's my comfort zone in a way.
Well, exactly.
You
The
know?
robe thing is like, okay,
Yeah.
we're dudes, we're beings, but we're light beings, we're spirit beings, but we're going to appear with some sort of Kmart robes on. No, just Kmart.
Yeah, I know. It's just, and I had met them before this, though. When I was in 6th grade, I write about that in my book. And when I was going to go speak on the stage there at the school, and I didn't want to do it, but when they go, you're going to go do this. And so I'm nervous. And to my right comes this group of beings in the big white shoulders, long robes, big hoods, never see their face. And they said, how would you like to, in a time future, speak to thousands of people and offer inspiration and hope? And I said, oh yeah, I'll do that, no problem. And they said, but you won't get paid for it. And I said, oh no, that's not going to work.
How old were you? 6?
12. I was 12.
Okay, so you were money conscious.
Yes, and I said my family's too poor, and I would really need to make some money for my family. They're really poor, and they just laughed, and I just laughed, but I agreed. And so they were there then, and so these were the same group when I went through my near death, and they were there to help me. I am protected, and we're all protected, and
This money thing, we get so deluded by the money thing. The money thing on this planet is a construct that has been invented by fear and limitation and lack. And I have been so swept up in the money thing, and my guides, when we call out to the guides, help me, send some money, I want to be rich, they don't give a rat's ass about the money. They're like, oh, just shift your vibration, stop calling out for money, just change your vibration from lack to support. And really that's what they're showing us, that they're here supporting us. Stop feeling unsupported, because that's what the money thing is, right? I don't have enough.
Right. And we always get what we need. It's funny how that works, how it works in a weird, wild way too, where it'll just come out of nowhere, and I have never charged for any of my speaking engagements. I've never received a dime. I never will. And, and I had a healing center for 8 years, Casa del Sol, and I never charged anything for any of the work that we did there. So my whole life has been like that. I do charge for readings now, but that's different. And so I just was asked to speak, but it would be speaking on something else, and I haven't decided yet. But since I had that, it's everything been totally cool. No, I was tested. I had to go in, and I was tested and put in the fire many, many, many times, and learn how to be with myself and who I was, and so I could find my center. So when it got knocked off, I could get back up and be right back in that center again, and become, aware of how it all works here. It's like, I did come from another planet, and we love each other. We honor each other. We help each other. We're down for each other, and we're, thought goes, energy flows, and we're aware. And so I had to learn all of those things.
You come from a place where, unification is the normal, not the separation that we experience, where, you and me and I'm you is just part of the, when I say our, collective consciousness, not like you're you and I'm me. It's like we are one. And so that's just what you've come to show people. Okay, so you said to me when we were having a chat the other day that you reached out to Michael Tamura, like when you were young, for a reading. Yes. So you're what, in your 30s, young mom?
I was 37. I was one of the older ones at the Berkeley Psychic Institute.
Right.
Psychic Institute there.
Okay, so you met him at right, okay. And so it must have been just after your NDE, right?
Exactly, it was during that, right afterwards. Right afterwards. Where
and
I went to him for reading.
And so for people who, Michael Tamura was someone I had on the show recently, and we had such a hoot. You've got to watch that show. So many aha moments. And he said to you that you're more galactic than human, right?
Yeah.
Which you as a young mum, like, doesn't compute.
Yeah, exactly.
So where are you from?
Well, a lot of people ask me that, and I had some readings where someone said I was from the Pleiades, from the Targeta system.
Right.
And then I had someone say, well, I must be from Pleiades. I act like a Pleiades because I'm up, I'm happy, I'm positive, all those things. But I think I'm a nomad, galactic nomad. I think, from what my sensitiveness is, I'm on a spaceship and we get to go wherever we want to go, and we get to go down like to the earth for a while. We get to shake some things up and get everything, change things and have some fun with it. And then once things start to even out, then I'm back on the ship and we go somewhere else, And I think that's where I am. I think we go wherever we want to go. And I've kind of done that on the earth too. I've traveled the world since then. I've been to a lot of the sacred spots all over the world. I've been really fortunate, and I've moved all the time. And so, where is my home on the earth? I think it's everywhere. It's like I feel comfortable living in 2 or 3 places at once, still. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really found. I loved Hawaii. The Big Island was where I really found where I felt the goddess presence there. I love Europe. I love Scotland. I found since then I did my ancestry, and I'm a 13th great-great-grandfather was Robert the Bruce from Scotland. And so I have like the royal blood on that side from me, and I didn't know. And then I have Irish, and then I do have Choctaw Native American Indian blood, which I had no idea. Cool. So, but I don't think I'm any of those. I'm just, we all have red blood. We
all energy having a physical experience of who you are. So who we all are. But I was going to ask you a question. I've just lost it now. Have you ever been down under?
I have not, and it's a place I want to go for sure. In fact, if you listen to a couple of my shows, I always say I want to go to Australia. And I told my friend Mary Rodwell, Mary, get me over there. I want to come. I want to come, and I want to speak, and I want to hang out with the Aborigine. Yeah. I want to hang out with them and sit with them and just be with them and experience their knowledge and their relationship with the earth, and just be a part of that would be a dream come true for me. I would love to do that. So it's on my list. So Australia would be, I think also, and I haven't been there, but I just see, like here in our deserts in Southern California, I lived in Palm Springs in the desert area. With you, I just see this expansion where you get to walk out, and where you are in Australia, just, it would be so liberating.
It is. Years when I was in my 30s, I used to host the Academy of Light. We used to have teachers that came through every week, and a lot of them came from overseas, and I used to facilitate them, and I talked to them about their experience of, energetically feeling different parts of the world, and what do you think of Australia? And so many of them said there's a freedom here that there's nowhere else. Because of the land mass and the small population and the lack of history, like we still have horrible histories, but not as much of it or as other parts of the world. There's a expansiveness and freedom here. And I think many people are drawn here. They think they come because they've fallen in love with an Aussie, or they've got a job, or they want to explore Australia. But I think they're drawn here for their own expansion. They come to a place where they can expand. So energetically,
reminds us of my the old Wild West. When we came out here to the West, my family were the first to come out, and for them it was like, it was huge. It was a huge, wild, expansive place to go where you had your freedom to express yourself and be who you are and find out who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so where are we with the story? So you had to come back and sort of, you're a young single mum at the time. Were you a single mum when you had the Eddie? What did you make of it when you came back into your body?
When I came back into my body, I was fried on the inside from all the electrical shocks. And 5 years later, I did talk to the medical doctor who was on site, happened to be there when I showed up. And if he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have made it either, because he happened to be an expert. But the electrical shocks in my body I still have a tree, kind of a tree branch that comes down and over my shoulder and into my heart from where they put the defibrillators on me. And so it took me a while. And even now I still kind of get a little bit of static electricity or a static shock from it, even 30 years later, every once in a while. But what happened is when I came back is I had no filters and I had no social conditioning.
Right.
And so I loved everybody.
Oh,
I would just, and I'm still kind of like that. I'm much better than I used to be. I don't embarrass my children anymore. They're grown adults. They're doing fine. But at the time it was like, Mom, can't you just like blend? Can't you just go into the store and just behave? And I go, I'm trying. I'm really trying. And people would come up and start crying, or I would hug them. And I go, your brother's going to be okay. Your Uncle George will get through his surgery, you know. And so it was out of control healer, just out of control. And I could read everybody's mind, exactly what they were thinking, all at the same time. And just, you know, and till this day, I've been able to filter it all down, and I can turn it on and off now like that. So, but it took me a long time to figure out how to do that. But at the time, and I still don't know it, but I can, if people come up to me and they're, oh, how are you? I can read what they're saying, but I usually don't without their permission, you know, usually. You know,
I don't get people's permission. I think I wish I could turn it off more than, I know what you feel. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was speaking to Michael about this too, and it's sort of saying why. And he said, well, you know, because you're really interested in people. And that's what, it's like when you're interested in something, you start to look into it, you know, whether it's a piece of art or a book or a person, you start to see into them, right? And that's what I do. And then I find myself going, wow, that's really fascinating. I start to look inside them, and then I think, no, pull back. Is that what you do?
Yeah. And I just, but I think now that I've been doing it for a while, it's just a sense of knowingness too, right? Where it's really quick. You can judge a coyote from 1,000 miles away, you know, it's kind of like that. But I had to go through a lot of life experiences to learn how to do that. But yeah, I can look at a person, and do I read their minds? Not really, but I can usually tell. I have a sense about them now.
You read their vibration. You know, where they're vibing, even when they're smiling at you, saying, "Oh, everything's good." You feel the vibe inside them.
Especially at my family events, you know, where they're so nice to your face, and then you can read them like, "Oh man, she put on a little weight," you know. Yeah, or things like that. But criticism. So I'm a psychic for sure, you know, and when I started in '89 saying that, it was not, you were like a harlot, a zealot, someone who's trying to take something from somebody. You don't have someone's best interest, and it really had a really bad meaning to it for most people. But I just kept it anyway. I just said, this is who I am. And after I had the near death, I closed my art gallery. I divorced my husband. It became final. I finished my school at Church of Divine Man, became a minister, and moved to Marin and dedicated my life to doing healings and readings for people. And I've done that for 30 years. And it hasn't been easy. People think, and it's been amazing at the same time, right? But that's what I've been doing.
No wonder Kat sent this video to me. Like, I tell you what, you could be just talking my life in many ways.
I can see that.
I don't have the NDE, but but geez, you know, asthmatic kid. There was something else that you said too, like, oh, I had a furniture shop, like I had a furniture, or interior designer. Yes. Yeah, I was an interior designer. It's like, and in my 30s started the healing thing and dedicated my life to the healing thing. And I know. Yeah. And now you've got your own radio show like me, like, hello.
Yes. We are. And I love doing the radio show. I love interviewing people. I learn so much. It's so much fun. And I never thought I could ever do any kind of technical, anything.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a right brain person. I am, art, beauty, dance, music. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
But all the other,
I know.
paying my bills on time, I'll do it, but I don't really want to, but I will, kind of like that, all
Yes.
that stuff. I just, it's not that important. I do it, but I have no, like Michael would say, no love or compassion or desire, or I'm into this. I'm into it. I have the full enchilada of this experience, and I'm loving it still till this day.
So when you came back, who did you tell about your experience? Like, did you tell your kids?
Oh
Obviously,
yeah,
yeah,
my kids have been with me through the whole thing.
right.
And they was really harsh for them. And I got a lot of slack. They were teenagers. My son was 12. My daughter was 10. My other one was 8. And so they were going through, I taught psychic classes for teenagers because, and I went and did firewalking. And I had a client who was afraid to go herself. So she said, I will pay for you to go. So, okay, when we got there, it was firewalking instructor school, and all the people that had been there had walked on fire many times. I had never walked on fire, and that night we walked like 108-foot fire, and so I had to learn the hard way how to do all of that. But I am a quadruple Leo with a Pisces rising, and so I have a lot of fire, and I built a relationship with fire, and fire is my element. It really is. I'm maybe in my older age, I'm starting to understand water a little bit, but I'm definitely a fire person. But my kids went through all of it, and they gave me the most slack at the beginning. But I taught them how to ground. I taught them how to read. I taught them about their aura. I taught them all of those things to keep them safe.
Right.
Because, to keep them safe in the world, because they're bright, shining like the sun. I wanted them to be expressed but protected at the same time. So I taught them all of the tools to do that, whether they wanted it or not. And then my one daughter that gave me the most slack about doing, she goes, Mom, here's the deal. When the kids come over, you're a counselor, okay? And if they say anything, you're just busy. I go, okay, I can do that. Well, invariably the kids would know. And so I said, if you want a reading from me, you have to call your mom, and I have to talk to your mom, because you're below 18. I'm not going to do that without you. So then I would get the daughter to come over. Well, then the mom would drive the daughter, right? So I'd end up giving her a reading and the kid a reading. But my daughter that gave me the most slack, bring it on around, she's in her early 40s now, and she just started doing readings herself.
Oh, bless her heart. Oh, I know. My daughter was like that too. She was really resistant to my woo-woo ways until The Secret came out, and all her school friends started talking about The Secret, and they're like, really? You're into that stuff? Oh, well, then my mum's an expert. She went from embarrassed to... But I still embarrass her all the time too, like talking to everyone and hugging everyone and embarrassing her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so you must have been quite different, like quite a different person from pre-NDE to post-NDE. Like maybe you were a little bit more conservative and shut down, and then you came back and you're open to the world.
Yeah.
So people must have noticed that. It reminds me of Byron Katie's story when she had her epiphany. I say that she had an NDE while she was in the body. Byron Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't.
Oh, you don't know the work of Byron Katie? Okay, so she's another teacher, and she when she had this experience, she was like, she had no boundaries, and she used to walk down the street, walk into people's homes, because there was no your house, my house. There was just like, oh, that's a nice house. Let me go and check it out. And people would come home, and she'd be sitting on their couch, and they go, what are you doing here? And she goes, oh, you've got a lovely home.
That's awesome. I wish I would have done that. I didn't do anything quite like that, but yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So she had to learn to kind of find those boundaries. I guess you did too. Like you had to learn to.
Yeah, and and I tried to keep I think Spirit gave me 3 kids so that I couldn't go way out there. Because
Right.
being a mom and a single mom with 3 kids and making ends meet and all of that, you know, that took a lot of my time in a way. But I still did readings, but I think I'd never really fit. I just never knew it. And you know what's funny is when I had the aha moment, like, you mean not everybody loves me?
Oh,
I just love everybody. You mean? It was like there's no Santa Claus, for those that don't know, but it was kind of like that. Like, you mean not everybody loves me? Oh my God. It was like, how, it wasn't in my world, you know, like that. And I had to learn that, oh yeah, not only are there people that don't love you, there are people that want to get you, you know. So just by being, it would upset someone. Just by walking into a room where you upset people, just by walking into a room.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, but just be who you are, and they feel threatened by that.
Yes.
You know, and at first I tried to, you know, be very mindful, be very respectful, and be very aware. But now I walk in and I am who I am, and I'm just, you know, I'm on, and I'm not looking for it, but if you want to go tay-to-tay with this, let's do it, you know, let's have it. And usually, but it's still in a loving way.
Michael and I spoke about this on the show. You know, we spoke about how when you shine brightly, you know, and don't hold back, how it exposes people's hidden drama, you know, and it threatens them.
Yes.
It really threatens them because the light exposes, you know, it uncovers the like the fear, the drama, and they've got their mask on pretending everything's okay, and your light, it just exposes them and they feel threatened by you. And we spoke about that, and it's nothing to do with you, it's all about them, it's all about their drama. I mean, the fact that it's being exposed means that they can deal with it and stop pushing it down and sitting on it and trying to push it away and hide it. So you're healing people just being in the room. People might not like it, but that's what's happening.
Well, and in the beginning, I would go out of my way to heal everybody. It's like if I have a good cake recipe, I'm going to share it with everybody. I'm not going to keep it all for myself. So I just want to share that with everyone, and that's what I did. And then I went to the point where we're learning how to work this and be in all of this. Then I had to learn, okay, I'm just going to be cool. I'm just going to be calm down, and I'm just going to let everyone, and I'm going to try and blend. I did go through that. That didn't work so well either. And then I went, okay, well, I'm going to shine on. And then it had to be a black or white or me and them. And then I got to where, oh my God, I can just love everybody still. And they can just be who they are and be where they are at wherever level they're at. And it's all awesome. So that's kind of where I've been, you know, and that's where I'm at. It's like, oh, I love that person, even though, you know, blah, 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 blah. I can read all that and see all their stuff. It doesn't matter. I can just go to that love connection, part with them, and communicate through that. So I can feel comfortable no matter if I'm in a biker bar.
Exactly, no matter what. That's as an empath and a psychic, and people that watch this show are, you know, you are the New World teachers. That's the conclusion you have to come to. You know, when you can see people and you can see their drama and their trauma and their fear and their distortion, it's not about judging it or criticizing it. It's about loving it anyway. It's like loving them anyway. Can you love, you know, one of my teachers back when I was doing energy workshops, courses in my 30s, she was a psychic like you, and she was in this neighborhood, and Spirit started to show her people in her neighborhood, the man next door molesting his daughter, and the woman cheating on her husband, and the Catholic, you know, the Christian, born again Christian woman like cheating, and, you know, all this distortion just with all the neighbors around. And so she's got a horde of kids, and she's like, I got to get out of here, you know, because I'm living amongst all these crazy people. I got to get my kids out of this. And then Spirit came to her and said, you know, that's not why we showed you. It's about being the healer and loving it. These are your clients. You know, it's not for you to judge them. These are your family. It's not for you to judge them and run away so your kids will be safe. It's for you to open up shop and do readings and help these people. And I'll never forget that I'm this young, like listening to her tell her story going, yes, 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 this is called unconditional love.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Okay, so let's get to Sekhmet. Did I say it right?
Oh yeah, Sekhmet.
Yay!
Yay! I love her. And she's kind of been with me this whole time, and I never knew it. That's the funny part. She had been there since my first breath. I'm sure of it. I used to have all these, and I'm being the Leo that I am too, you know.
Yeah.
And so I went to Egypt the first time, and I was scared to go. But I went. It's like I woke up that morning, was in meditation. It says it's time for you to go to Egypt. And I don't do everything my voices say. Okay, so you don't qualify that, you know. But I went, got online, boom, 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 and got tickets for my husband and myself and found our passports. And we were gone to Egypt in 2 weeks. And so when we're there, I'm walking into her temple, and no one tells me about her temple. And in her temple in Luxor, her particular statue has never been moved, okay? And she has priests that watch her and take care of her and guard her there. But I never knew that, and it's important, you know, to know, and that she is inside, her ka is inside that statue. So I'm just minding my own business, and I walk into a room. We have 5 minutes with her statue. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I walk in, and it's really dark, and I see her beautiful statue. I don't know if I picked, it's not the best, but this is kind of what she looks like. She looks kind of fierce looking, you know. And
so she's a humanoid, like woman's body with a lion's head.
Yes.
Like the picture behind you, for those people on iTunes.
Yes. Oh,
you
yeah.
have to
There
Google
she
her.
is. Yeah. And so she has a lotus staff in one hand and an ankh in the other hand. And she's tall, slender, and there's this beam coming down over her. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden she walks out of the statue. Like a third dimension out of the statue. And when she does that, she locks onto my eyes, right? Her eyes are red and they lock onto me. And she puts a circle of fire around us. And then she asks me she doesn't say anything, it's telepath. She puts down a golden stair, a small golden stair, and she points, and I step on the stair. Then she puts around the fire, Then she puts around the fire. And then after the fire, it floods with water, a dark water. And as I'm standing on it, I don't know why, but she did it that way. She starts to telepath to me that I'm powerful, and not to hide from it, and not to run from it, but to remember who I am, and that I've earned it. I've earned this power. I've earned this privilege. And basically stop being a wuss, you know, and behave, you know, like get your chops up and go for it, you know. But she tells me this telepathically. And when she does, my whole body starts to shake, and I still have it, crack my tooth from the shaking, the vibration.
Wow. Okay. Let me just get this right. So you're standing in front of a statue with your husband at the time.
No, my husband's not there.
Oh, who are you with?
Myself.
You said, are you by yourself?
I'm by myself. Okay. Yeah.
And then you're having this experience, but if people were looking at you, they don't see that. They just see someone staring at a statue, right?
Yeah. No one is in there but me
with
her.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it a physical experience, or is it a psychic experience, or both?
It's a physical experience. And I wrote my book later because I found lots of people have had that experience with her. And there's a doctor, I wish I could remember his name, starts with a Q, has also had a very similar experience that I did. I didn't know that till later. So that was really cool. That she had come out of the statue for him too, and told him this kind of similarly the same thing.
To remind you of your power.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you walk down the stairs?
Well, then the water came back up. Then the fire went back up, and then I stepped off the step, and she put back up the stairs, and she walked right back into the statue and was gone. That all happened in 5 minutes.
Right.
What's funny is Nikki, a friend of Nikki Scully, was the psychic, was the tour leader. And she kind of knew something could happen, And so afterwards, she helped walk me out, and my husband walked me out, and I cried for 3 days. I swear, I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And I didn't think there was going to be an end to it. Sobbed and cried. And I think I cried for the earth. I cried for all the things that could be. I cried for all the man's inhumanity to man, all that stuff I'd been, carrying with me, this heavy burden that we carry here on the earth, and I was carrying all that for the people. And about the third day, then it was gone. And it just lightened me up so much in so many ways. And
how long ago did that happen? How long ago was this?
Oh, gosh. That was in 2000. I should know. I'm not good with time. 2000 something.
So
it's in my book. So I don't know.
It was in the 2000s. Okay.
Yeah. I think
so
2004.
Who is Sekhmet? Did I get it right?
Sekhmet. Yeah, Sekhmet.
Say it again.
Sekhmet. And she has quite a history. I went back the next year, and I was scared to death, kind of, to go in there. And this time she came back out again, and she just kind of purred. She just kind of she was so proud of me. And she just kind of did this purring thing. It was so beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. She was so proud of me. And then she walked right back. She kind of walked out, walked around me, and then walked back in. It was really beautiful.
So where is her statue in Luxor?
It's in her temple, right in. It's hard to. I can't really tell you, actually.
Okay, people can look it up online.
You have to look it up. Yeah.
Who is Sekhmet?
Okay. Back in the day, and I'll try and tell her story, and as best I can. And back in the day, Ra, and if you're Egyptian archaeologists and you know your stuff, there's so many things wrong, but I'll give you the gist of it. That the humans were not being, what do you call it? Kind of like not being good to the earth and to Ra himself, and to just being into this debauchery and this sort of thing. So much so Ra lost his patience with the people. So he sent down his daughter, Sekhmet. And there's a whole bunch of different stories that she's part Hathor, part Sekhmet, and a whole bunch, but we're just going to stay with Sekhmet. Egyptians do that a lot. I love their work because you can be three things at once, right? And so Sekhmet comes down and she says, "Oh man, these people are so messed up. They don't. She lost her compassion for them, and she started to eat them. Once she started eating them, she started enjoying the taste of their blood. So much so that she killed so many that they started asking Ra, "Hey Ra, your daughter is like gone off the deep end." So what they did, they came up with this plan that they would pour beer and pomegranate juice in it and some herbs and hundreds of vats of it and pour it out on the desert floor so it looked like blood. So she started to drink that potion that they had made, and it put her to sleep. So then when she slept, when she woke up, she became gentle and giving and compassionate. So you know what, maybe these guys aren't so bad after all. There is hope for humanity. And that's her story. And so she's not only a goddess of war, which she protects the emperors, the Neteru of Egypt, the kings of Egypt. She also is the goddess of childbirth and healing for women.
Okay,
so she's a duality. She's a duality.
Well, let's just talk about this in a way that needs to be spoken about. So humans look upon other races who have other abilities. They've developed their other abilities as gods. And in truth, we're all gods, right? We're all source energy having an experience, be it human, so she's an ET. So she's an extraterrestrial in that she wasn't born on Earth. And she's come from wherever that place is where she lives,
Yeah.
whatever planet or spaceship or dimension,
Yes.
because of her dad, Ra, I suppose. Was it her dad? Guardian. And to help humanity evolve, and she's got impatient. So she wasn't too evolved herself at the time.
Well, can't we all relate to that?
Yeah.
I kind of related. There was a time in my life where I definitely related to that, you know.
These bloody humans, when are they going to get it? Let me eat them.
She's a lion. That's her nature, though. See?
Yeah,
okay,
true.
so remember that too.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lionistic nature. I was talking about that with Raphael Tamora. You know, we were talking about the animals and how the animals here on Earth are on an evolutionary process, be it not as evolved as a human, but, you know, the comments under that YouTube is like, what do you mean animals aren't as evolved as humans? People don't like that, but then there on other planets, the animals have evolved to be the major intelligent species.
Yeah.
The lion beings like Sekhmet.
Yeah.
So she's come from a place where that animal body has evolved into this intelligent sort of humanoid, and they've evolved beyond where the humans are at present.
Yeah.
So back in the day, you know, humans and extraterrestrials lived openly on Earth, right? And
they still do.
well, yeah, I guess they do, but the most of humanity doesn't realize it. You know, most of humanity is under the hypnosis that, oh, aliens aren't real. That's just fantasy. You know, they're completely persuaded that that's their truth. And yet they walk amongst us like, you're one of them, honey.
Right. Like, how's that? Let's wake you up with that one, okay?
Yeah. So, oh, look, Garnet tells a story of that. But anyway, so back then they were walking amongst us in their ET body.
Right.
And so the Egyptians drew them, you know, dog head beings, lion head beings, bird head beings, and called them gods because they had different abilities, or they had
they would appear to be like that, right? You know, like if these come down now and they have those abilities, you would revere them, you know, and you would probably be afraid of them at the same time, you know?
Well, I guess when you say you, not the people listening to our show, but the majority of the human population would be pretty freaked out because they're not listening to, you know, your radio show or mine. But the people that are wouldn't, because it's becoming, you know, they're being re-educated. Re-educated, acclimated, and that there are other beings in the universe that don't look exactly like us. So if they come, you know, I'm looking at a person with a human body and a lion head.
A lion head, is that amazing? It's just amazing, isn't it? It makes it so exciting.
So after she appeared to you out of the statue, did you take her home with you? I mean, was she talking to you in your head when you went back?
No, she just kind of let me be. But if I need her, what's funny is she comes to me in different ways. Like someone came up to me and gave me a statue of her, just out of the blue. Then I had like my grandson, let's see if I have it right here. I had given this to him when he was born and I didn't know it. Yeah. I don't remember buying it for him. And it's a statue of Sekhmet.
Beautiful.
And so he just gave it back to me because, Bubba, I think you're supposed to have this now. And he's 11. Oh. And I do not remember giving it to him. And so she's right there. But mainly she's on my right shoulder, you know, if I need her. Because, you know, I'm an easy nurturing kind of a person. It takes a lot to get me my noom up, as they say in the fire walking, you know, the Aborigine really, when they get their noom up, their fire up to be able to create something. If I see injustice or something, it takes me a while to get it up, to take the action in ways. How do I put that? I can do it in words. I like to write. I can do it in words that way. But for me, I'll think of 10 other ways to do it than to go right up to the person and say, you're really screwing up. You need to stop it already. And that's her way. And sometimes that's a perfect way to do someone, is to just wake them up, you know.
So raw.
Just wake them up. You're being too nice about it. You know, we don't have that much time. Get on with it, Joe.
I think I've got a bit of a raw too, but I've been vilified for my raw. So I've tried to soften it.
Oh, no.
Doesn't feel natural, but you know, that reminds me of a scene in Bridesmaids. You know, that silly comedy movie Bridesmaids, and the bridesmaid, who's the main character, is having a pity party and feeling sorry for herself and locked herself at her mum's place. She's got no money and her life's fallen apart. And that fabulous comedian, what's her name? You know, the big girl. Oh, you know, American
I have
comedian.
no idea.
She's playing a role as, you know, one of the brides. She comes over, she's got all the puppies, like she's, and the main character's having the pity party on the couch, and then this other character just slaps her upside the head and says, stop it, like she's roaring at her, right? Like, wake up, you know, and she just like beats her, like she physically beats her up.
Yeah.
I love that scene. It's like,
I do too.
I've wanted to do that with people, like, come on, stop with the
Yeah.
pity party, wake up.
Yeah, I think for doing like women's work too, I've done a lot of work with women to empower women, and part of that is we're told to just be nice and, you know, pleasant and sweet and kind and quiet and, you know, all those things, when in reality we really need permission to roar and to really let it rip and to find your voice and to let it happen and let it go. Just do it and let it go, whatever that is and however that feels. And I think for me at the time, I needed her. I was in a really bad relationship and I needed her help to tell me, enough already. Enough. I'm enough of being the nice person here. I'm a nice person. Yeah. Enough of being the nice person. And it was perfectly legitimate and needed to be said, no more, and set that boundary, do the roar, and out you go, you know, like, enough already, done. And she really helped me. And in the book, there's several different people that talk about where she helped them get out of abusive relationships.
Right.
And she works with women and she works with men. There's quite a few men in this book too, from all, she's just here. She's alive. All you have to do is tap into her and she'll help you find your roar. She'll help you, you know, get your noom up and kick some major butt in whatever area you need to do that, you know? So wake up, you know, and Sekhmet will help you, and you can call on her. And it isn't a cult, and it isn't she hates it when you bow down to her. She doesn't want you to bow down to her.
No.
She wants you to be in your power.
Yeah.
And when you're in your power with her, that's what she wants. And then she's really cool. I really like her, and I'm really happy and thankful to have her be a part of my walk here on the planet. You know, she's like, I got her right there, you know, she's like, don't mess with this woman because we will kick your butt, you know, if need be.
I guess that's the message, isn't it? That of the now moment as opposed to the Egyptian, like the historical moment, because humanity in their delusion of fighting with each other and criticizing each other, you know, we're looking at these ETs as gods and giving their power to the ETs, and the ETs were abusing that power because I don't know why. So they come because they could, because we're so stupid. So it's come full circle where we're now reconnecting to our cosmic family to see them as equal and teachers, you know, or guides rather than gods, and not to give our power to them. But to allow them to guide us and help us to find our own power. That's really our own roar, if you like. Yeah,
it is. That's very well said. And she'll do it. She's not easy. So she's not all, you know, she will just take you down without you know, to the core, you know. And then the second time with me, she was just so sweet and kind and loving too. And I find that with my teaching, you know, however it gets done to get you to where you need to be. If that's shake you up and take you out, or love you in your arms till you cry yourself into your next level of who you are, whatever that takes. You know? Either way, it's good medicine. You know, it's the elixir of change and growth and transformation.
You know, I'm just thinking about the raw. When Annika was little and she was playing up and being rude, and I'd sort of let her do it and think she'll get out of it, she'll snap out of it, she'll snap out of it, she'll snap out of it, and then sort of the abuse would start, like, oh, shut up, Mama, don't do that, Mama, you know, as kids do, and then I would just lose it, and I would just roar, and I was like, enough is enough. I've got to say, you feel really empowered in those moments, and she would completely shut it. And then, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Mum, I'm so sorry, but that roar made her see who she was being. Right. And then she'd be an angel for a while, and then it would build again, and it would build so that she would start sort of being disrespectful. Still happens. But you know what, how that's, I didn't roar too many times. I do have a roar, but it's translated into you're always screaming at me. And so when I speak to her like I'm speaking to you now, she hears me yelling. So it's not really sort of worked very well. She's got to work through that one. But
you might tell her that's her problem. And when she can deal with that and she has that handled, she can come back and have a conversation with you.
The amount of times she says, stop yelling at me. And I'm like, I'm not yelling. But she's hearing, you know, she's hearing the screaming. I think that what she's hearing is her own being screaming at her. Wake up!
Yeah, and you can also say, hey, you listen to me. Respect me. I'm your elder. It's time for you to listen to me. You know,
she doesn't. You know, it's this, I don't know if it's like with your kids, this interplay between I'm the boss, no, you're the boss. No, I'm the boss, no, you're the boss. It's like that taking that independence and not needing mom to guide you or heal you. But then coming when you're in that confusion and saying, can I have your help? And then you help them, and then they say, but I don't need your help because I've got all the answers. So
Exactly. Well, they have to kind of loop out a little bit to find out who they are, because you're a powerful, amazing, independent goddess, and you've taught her how to be like that, right? You're doing an amazing job, so it's a reflection of you. So she has to go kind of out of that to find out who you are. Both my daughters did this, and I took it personally, like, oh my God, what have I done? Am I losing my kids? You know, and what happens? I just kept the door open. I just listened. I kept the door open, and then they all spiraled back in. Thank God, you know. But when they're doing that, you're thinking, you know, I won't tell you what you're thinking, but it's like, you know, it's out of your control, which it's supposed to be. But it's like, did I do something wrong? So then it's a great teacher for you too, to go in and clean all that up too. So.
Yeah. Now, how long have we been going? We've been going for ages, about an hour and a half, I think, or just under. Okay, so where are we in the story? So died, spoke to the guardians, the watchers, had a chat with Sekhmet. How many years later? Like 10, 20 years later?
1989, so 2000, 2002, I think it was, or 2004. I want to go back and see her again.
You want to go back and see her again?
Yeah.
What are the guides, like what message can you give our listeners from your mob? What's the most important thing? Keep in mind, the people that listen to this show are people awakening to their own role here as watchers, guardians, teachers, healers, new world teachers. And even if they think they're not, that's who I attract. So people that are watching this show are those people.
Okay.
What do your mob say to them? What's the message?
The message is go out and do what scares you the most.
Right. Courage.
Just do it. It'll be uncomfortable. It'll be scary. It'll be awesome. And you might fail. Oh, yeah, well, so what?
Well, let's hope you fail, because you learn so much when you fail. You
Exactly.
learn so much when you fail.
And you get up and you just do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, take the thing that scares you the most, because that's what'll keep you young at heart. It will empower your spirit, and you'll meet such amazing friends and people that will change you, and together you change the world. So it would be, go out and do the scariest thing. I try and do that as much as I can.
Yeah.
As much as I can, as often as I can, to keep me vital.
I think we spoke about that when we were chatting the other day. That's really the message of the lion beings that are really prevalent on the planet right now, is for the New World teachers to give them that courage to be different, to speak their truth, to talk about their alien abduction, to talk about their near-death experience, to talk about crazy lion beings talking to them, or dog-headed beings, or they're communicating with the trees and the animals and the plants, and like to just have the courage to be it, to speak about it, to live it, to teach it, and not worry about the collective hypnosis trying to dumb you down all the time and put you back in your place.
Yeah. And it will come. When you start to do that, it will come. And just give it, just take your hand and just move it out. And the Native American Indians call it stinking thinking, because that'll come in. That stinking thinking will come in and just take it out. Open the door, shove it out, and slam the door, and continue on. Keep going. Go for it. Do it. You can do this thing that scares you the most. It's so much fun.
Oh, that's a beautiful message for 2019. I know some of you will be watching this after the new year, but for those of you who are watching it, because it'll come up next week, just before the new year. 2019, do something that scares you the most. That is such a great message. That's such a beautiful message. Oh, darling one, thank you so much for being on the show. And tell people where they can find you. I think I told them where to find your radio show. I think you'll have a few people calling up for a free reading.
Wonderful, wonderful.
On the Cosmic Oracle Show, Revolution Radio, every Friday from 5 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time, to 7 p.m., where listeners can experience something beyond themselves. And they can obviously share their stories on the show as well.
Yes, yeah. And I have a website. It's barbarajeanlindsey.com. Really easy. And I have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel, the Cosmic Oracle YouTube channel. So I'm here.
So you're exactly like me. You've gone crazy on the social media. When I first found you, I was like, let me look at her page and that page and that page and that page. Just like me, I've got like 5 pages. I've got Blissful Beings, Accentuate the Radio, Positive Media. I've got The Difference Makers, Soul Traveler Radio. I've got all these millions of pages. Peace Day. Oh my God. Now Love Fest. I know. Just too many things to do, isn't there? Too many things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just really honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you on the show, and have a fabulous new year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you and to all your listeners.
Well, wasn't that a lot of fun? What did you think of Barbara Jean Lindsey? Isn't she fantastic? God, we had some laughs. She's just fabulous. I love her. We were just talking about contact in the desert and how she holds these cafes, these spaces, a bit like she does on her radio show, where people can come and share their stories. And she's saying, come next year. It's in May, I think, that they're having it. I don't know where, somewhere in America, in the desert somewhere. And I was saying, I probably won't get there. I've got a busy year next year. But then my guide said, you're coming. And I'm like, really? You don't always have to listen to your guides, but they do kind of give you suggestions. But what she's doing, holding the space, like a safe space where people can share their stories, just beautiful. An amazing being here on this planet. Just amazing. Thank you all for watching and listening again to another show, Accentuating the Positive, the last for 2018. I hope you all have a really fabulous new year. And remember, the message from Barbara Jean is do something that scares you. Have the courage to go out there and make it happen, whatever it is. I know that you've got ideas bubbling away. I could put on groups, I could facilitate, I could heal, I could paint, I could dance, I could start seminars, I could speak, I could share my story. It takes a lot of courage to share your story. That's the message for 2019. I am the courage. I have the courage to really go out there and make it happen. Do what I've been dreaming about, thinking about, mulling over, chewing over for years, some of you, for years. So I look forward to hearing how 2019 pans out for you and how that courage kicks in for you to share your story, or facilitate some groups, or go on a podcast show, start your own podcast show, write a blog, write a book, do a dance class, create a dance class, whatever it is. And I haven't got anything else to say for this year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that sort of stuff. Said that last time, but this will be after Christmas. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year, going on a bit of a holiday for the beginning of January. So no shows first couple of weeks of January unless I meet someone really amazing that I just have to put on. But trying to get away for a couple of weeks. And I love you all. Remember to buy the book, Awakened by Death, for your holiday reading, and join our Inner Sanctum next year. We're going to be doing some more sort of structured learning about tapping into your intuition. I was talking to Laurie about, maybe sponsoring some remote viewing classes, but she's got all those classes online if you want to learn about how to remote view. But, expanding those intuitive psychic abilities that we all have, learning how to talk to your guides, be more connected to your source, raise your frequency, expand your field, all that good stuff. Love you all. Bye for now.